Alright, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching the daily series of Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly ask for you guys' thoughts because you guys are the MMA community. And today we are going to be discussing UFC 299's main event, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera 2. It's the rematch, and just talking about this fight a little bit to get into the preview of UFC 299. We're going to be breaking down more fights on this card. Let me know which ones you guys want to see next in the comments down below. But these two have fought before. It ended in a little bit of controversy when Chito Vera hurt Sean O'Malley's leg and then subsequently finished him. So we're going to be talking about that fight in particular, but we're also going to pull up two more in order to really and thoroughly analyze each fighter's style and break down their style based off of those fights, and then lead into our final prediction at the end of the video. So guys, welcome to the ultimate breakdown of UFC 299, Marlon Vera versus Sean O'Malley 2. And guys, also, if you like these breakdowns and fight reactions and all this good stuff that we do on this channel, go ahead and like the video to support the content, and it'll mean the world to me if you guys subscribed and joined the family to be notified when more videos like this one pop up in the future. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the body type breakdown of Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera first. Alright guys, so first, starting off with Sean O'Malley. He is the less experienced fighter at 17-1 with a 3-inch height advantage at 5'11", having a 2-inch reach advantage at 72 inches and a leg reach of 40 inches, while Marlon Vera is the veteran. He's the more experienced fighter. He has a win over Sean O'Malley. He is 5'8" with a 70-inch reach and a 40-inch leg reach. So they pretty much similarly have long legs. Sean O'Malley's a little bit longer in height and in arm reach, and you can kind of see this in their style, right? You see Sean O'Malley lunge into a lot of shots. He's very fast, so that's deceptive given his length, but I think that each of these fighters' style is a little bit representative of their leg reach, right? They both like throwing kicks. Marlon Vera likes his traditional kicks like the hook kicks and the side kicks and a lot of oblique kicks to the knee. Sean O'Malley also likes his oblique kicks to the knee, but he more focuses on round kicks and push kicks in order to set up his hands, right? Now, in order to really discuss these two fighters' styles, we're gonna have to pick out a few fights. And again, I don't want to take too long while breaking this fight down. I don't like to take too long on these breakdowns. I just like to give you guys all the information I can because it is an in-depth fight analysis, right? And by saying that, we're gonna watch a total of 3 fights. We're gonna watch Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera 1. We're gonna watch Sean O'Malley versus Petr, and we're gonna watch Marlon Vera versus Cory Sandhagen. That way, we watch 2 losses from each of these fighters, but we also watch 2 wins from each of these fighters. That's not the only reason I'm picking these matchups. Specifically, I'm picking this Marlon Vera versus Cory Sandhagen matchup, which is the first one we are going to watch because of the style of Cory Sandhagen. He's another long fighter. He's another guy who uses a lot of feints, a guy who gave Chito a lot of problems. And a lot of people can say that, oh, Chito didn't turn it on this fight, but then a lot of people are also saying he doesn't deserve this title shot because he just lost to Cory Sandhagen. Granted, he may just be getting this title shot because Sean O'Malley is the champion, or rather he is getting this title shot because of that, but that doesn't mean he's not at the level that he needs to be in order to get this title shot, and I think most people would agree. And so saying this, let's go ahead and get into the first fight with Marlon Vera versus Cory Sandhagen. We're not going to watch this entire fight. However, there's a couple things I want to specifically break down while looking at this fight. So we know Chito's style. He's a very slow starter. He uses that high guard, and he's very reactive to his opponents, right? He likes to download their styles. That's why they call him a quote-unquote slow starter, right? And right away, you're seeing Cory send information, right? He threw a couple of kicks, and now he's feinting. Now he's feinting and throwing a lot at him. And in this fight, what you saw this do was it really overloaded Marlon Vera, and it didn't allow him to ever really get started in the first like 2 rounds. The only time he started to pick it up was in the 3rd round, and we're gonna go over what exactly enabled him to do so. So we see them both throwing kicks here. Cory's constantly switching stances, constantly changing levels, even if it's just with his strikes. And Cheeto is starting to get a little bit more stationary. He's not moving as much. He's trying to kind of prod his way forward. That's when Cory opens up. He isn't landing anything much other than the low kicks. Because Cheeto is very stationary, it does enable his lead leg to get kicked. He has a problem defending that low kick. But at the same time, look at him trying to grab everything. You see how he's reacting to everything? Let's go back here for a second. He tries to grab Cory's hands just to make sure he knows where they are. But Cory does an amazing job of faking the hand touch. Cheeto goes to go grab it, fakes the shot into the left hook, and look at Cheeto. He immediately resorts to this high guard here, and this isn't a bad thing, right? It keeps you safe, it keeps you protected. Your body is open, but he tries to keep his eyes open, that way he can still see what his opponent's doing, and he starts to see your tails, right? This is a lot of reasons why people use the high guard. It's mainly to download information while also not absorbing any like very damaging shots, right? And so he uses that to then give Cheeto no options of attack, and then Cheeto is only forced to back up, get to the cage, and eat a leg kick. Alright, so it's a lot just to land a leg kick, but it's Cory Sandhagen figuring him out. And now you see just off of that double jab how much Cheeto's reacting. Look, Cory just throws 1, 2, and Cheeto is thinking there's a takedown coming. He has the high guard. He's switching stances just in case there's a leg kick. Cory's already sent out so much information that Cheeto's just reacting. Another thing Cory's doing is he's going at the same time as Cheeto. And this isn't a video breaking down how good Cory Sandhagen is, which you might be able to see by listening to this breakdown. But I'm trying to discuss how Cheeto's style is. Right, the way he fights, why he fights, and the psychology behind it. Another thing Cory used in this matchup was grappling in order to control the range. So he didn't just only want to bombard him with strikes in order to control the range, but the moment Marlon Vera was like, okay, let me start banging with this guy, claps his hands, immediately looks for a check hook while Cory shoots. He wasn't ready for it, gets to the legs. Even though he doesn't finish this takedown, Marlon's forced to defend, gets his back right back up against the cage, and he never let Marlon Vera get going with his forward pressure, which is what makes him so dangerous in the first place. Gets a good takedown, and this is one of the last things I'm gonna be wanting to break down from this fight. It's the fact that Cory Sandhagen now, he's very good on the ground, right? To be honest, I think he is one of the best grapplers in the bantamweight division right now. A lot of people know of him from his striking, of course, but we've gotten to see a lot of his grappling in the later fights, and we could see just how good he is. Now, he's smashing Marlon up against the cage, and then in a second here, you're gonna see that Marlon just decides to almost accept this. He uses his energy right here. He's trying to use butterfly hooks, and he's trying to kick him off, and right now he has a shallow knee shield for a half guard. He's controlling a 201, trying to avoid damage. But these are the points where Marlon, he feels like he's okay and he won't expend energy. A big part of Marlon's style is energy conservation. That's a huge part of his style, whether that's on the feet or on the ground, right? You saw in his fight with Jose Aldo that Jose would take him down, and whenever he would explode a couple times, couldn't get back to his feet. Instead, he just decided, okay, let me close my guard, look for elbows, and I'm just gonna stay here. And granted, that's good sometimes in order to conserve energy and things like that. You're more often than not better off using that energy to try and get up in a slow and steady rate. You don't have to explode into everything, but you're not okay here. This isn't okay because Cory's not only winning the fight, but he's able to do damage with these elbows. But Marlon, his psychology is that as long as he's not taking damage, he doesn't have to use energy. Now, let me know in the comments below if you agree with this sentiment, but time and time again, Marlon's proved me right on this. There he goes. He tries to get back to his guard. Cory's just smothering him, staying on top of his legs, and he's eating these. Now, let's fast forward, right? Because this is round 1. Cory keeps him on the ground. Let's go to round 2. There's one of Cheeto's very tricky kicks, which was a crescent kick. Very tricky, which I think actually could give Sean O'Malley a lot of problems, just depending on how he uses it. And I'm going to go into that just in a second. That was a good level changing body hook from Cory Sandhagen. Cheeto's getting a little bit more active with his jab. He's a little bit more reluctant to go backwards now. There he goes, he circles, got tagged a little bit, and Cory back on a shot when he doesn't expect it. Now, he doesn't get this guillotine, he gets that, he secures the half guard, and we're a minute and a half into the round. Starts looking for a leg lock, ends up getting smashed, looking to see if he could wall walk, but he's not close enough to the cage to really get any real extension off of that wall walk, and he's not really doing anything to get up. You see what I mean? You see how long he's staying here without Cory really having to control him. And Cory, granted, he's landing a lot of strikes right now, and Marlon isn't in a good position. There he goes, tries to get up, gets up successfully. But you see, that came from when he used his energy, when he created a situation to where Cory had to start controlling him or move on to something else, and it gave him that space in order to get up. Let's go back here. So right here, he's flat on his back. He doesn't want to be here. Cory looks to go into crucifix, which then Marlon gets on his side. From here, Cory's still trying to smash his upper body, but then he's trying to move into mount because Marlon finally is on his side, right? Trying to either move into mount, get on his back, and get to a front headlock, but all of that just creates space, the ability or room to move and get up. I don't think so. Going back to the thoughts people had on this fight, I don't think it was so much of, oh, Marlon didn't show up and this and that. I think it was the early grappling from Cory. Marlon, he wasn't expecting that, one, and two, it fatigues you, man. That's just what it is. It fatigues you. You don't have any more of that explosive pop that you were used to having. It's not as simple as, oh, I can just cover up here and not use much energy while this person's throwing a full-on combination. It's a lot different. And granted, Marlon Vera has his black belt in jiu-jitsu. He is very good on the ground. I just think it was more his decision making in this fight which lost him it than it was his actual skill level. Now, moving forward in this fight, round 5, and look at the difference. Look how much Marlon's coming forward now. He's not biting as much to any of the feints. Now he's focused on keeping his back away from the cage. He's ready for these takedowns. Look how strong he defended it. Now is the time to use his energy. Before, you saw he was trying to wait against the cage, and that's why he got taken down. Look how much energy he's using now. Now he knows he can't accept these takedowns. Starts looking for a triangle, looking to get his feet on the body. That way he can kick off. He almost has like some sort of a spider guard from here, and Cory's just looking to get on him and weigh on him. But again, Marlon's trying. He ends up in better positions every time he decides to use energy. I think one of the biggest keys that Marlon needs to do in this fight is to not wait. He can't wait. I think Marlon does his best work when he is either going before you or after you. Ready for that takedown and separated. I think one place that Marlon Vera does struggle is in the boxing range. I think that a lot of hand feints is what gives him an issue, which is why he's resorted to that high guard in the first place. I think he likes his elbows, his knees, his kicks, but all of those are either really long range or very short range, right? You don't see him use many just straight up hand combinations, do you? So now, moving on from this fight and leading into his fight with Sean O'Malley, some of the things that he did that worked and some of the things that Sean was actually having success with. So we go back to the beginning of this fight, right? And immediately it seems like Sean sees the same things that Cory has saw, right? He immediately starts off with feints, lots of feints here, hip twitches, all kinds of feints, and big low kicks. Now, if you go back to that Cory Sandhagen fight, what did he start with? He started with the low kicks and feints. So Sean's doing the same thing, and this is a lot of the reason why a lot of people saw Sean O'Malley having so much success against Chito Vera. Constant stance switches, keep the downloader guessing. And I think that the reason a lot of this works against Chito is not just because he has that high guard, but it's because he's mainly a defensive minded fighter, to where he is willing to allow you to expend all your energy and show all your weapons right off the gate, because he's trying to go after you, right? And while this has worked in the past and could work in the future, there's 3 different timings that you have to be aware of, right? There's the before timing, there's the during timing, which is at the same time that your opponent is striking, and there's the after timing, which Marlon Vera uses a lot, right? He'll let you strike and then he'll go after, or he'll use his strikes to set up and go before. But one thing he doesn't do, just I guess maybe has to do with his lack of speed, is go at the same time as you. Still reading, reacting, eats another low kick, eats a body kick, stop it. He's starting not to react to the feints. Throws that side kick to the knee. Crane kick, eats a big body kick, tries to catch it and follow it. He is staying relatively safe, even though Sean is landing these low kicks and body kicks. He is staying very safe. And that's where he kicks Sean's nerve. But if you fast forward this nerve kick and you understand what happens, this nerve kick is temporary, right? It shuts down your leg, but it only does it for a certain amount of time. It's not gonna happen for 3 out of 5 rounds, right? So when this happens, Sean just needs to recover. He needs to let it heal, right? Or let it come back, let the feeling come back, which is partially what he's trying to do. 2 minutes left in the round. It's just tough. It's just tough because you don't really know what's going on with your body, right? And so everything Sean starts to do is more just lateral movement, and it's good. That's what he needs to do. He needs to buy time for his leg to come back. Cheeto closes the distance with that front kick, uses that high guard. And if you notice, even with the hurt leg, this is one of Sean O'Malley's best shots. This overhand. Feints the uppercut and bang. That's 1. That's 2. His head bounces off the canvas. 3, 4. And he's back and forth, back and forth. Now, he still had the cognizance to grab his ankle and, act like that's what did it. But Herb Dean wouldn't have stopped it, had his head. So the way Marlon was able to ground and pound him and get him out of there, that's really what sealed the deal. I want to go ahead and break down Marlon Vera's victory in order for him to win this fight. Now, the few things we saw him have success with in this fight was his low kicks against Sean O'Malley, and using his kicks in order to set up everything else, right? Using the first initial strike to set up everything else. The times where we saw him look a little weird or look a little off balance is when he tried to go at the same time as Sean. And that's partially because Sean O'Malley is the faster fighter, right? I think that his first key to victory is going to be constant leg attacks. I think that his side kick to the knee is almost imperative in order to keep Sean's long reach at bay, and in order to stop him from putting so much weight on that front leg and being able to lean and overcommit to that overhand. I think constant leg kicks would be a major key to victory, whether that's going roundhouse, whether that's going oblique or side kick. Just keeping that lead leg of Sean O'Malley peppered is going to stop all those big shots from occurring. Another thing it'll do is it'll slow down the feints. That way Cheeto's not constantly having to be on defense, worrying about the feints and worrying about this and that, right? So moving into Cheeto's second key to victory, along with constant leg kicks, he must work the body. And I think that this is a key thing going against Sean O'Malley, because we haven't seen him go 5 rounds yet. Cheeto is a master of 5 rounds, right? We know he has the gas tank. We know he has the grit, the heart, the toughness. Sean O'Malley showed his heart and toughness, especially in that Petr Yan fight, which we're going to get into. But at the same time, because his head is so hard to hit, and because Sean O'Malley is so fast twitch, and he's constantly moving his head, and he's backing up, and he's so much longer, like generally against the longer, taller guy, you want to go to the body, and then the head will be there later. So 1, you want to have constant leg kicks if you're Marlon Vera. 2, you want to go to the body and attack Sean O'Malley's body. That way it could bring you to his head. And then 3, which I think is maybe the most important thing, he can't get caught up striking at the same time as Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is a master of baiting you in, making you overcommit on a shot, and just destroying you afterwards. He did it to Aljamain Sterling. He's done it to so many other fighters. He's not only a master at that, but also interrupting your strikes as well, right? Like Sean O'Malley, he'll punch your hand, or he'll use these feints, draw your attacks, and then go at the same time once he knows what you're gonna throw, right? And because he's so much faster than Chito Vera, I think that that's a bad idea. I think that his best case scenario in order to win this fight is to go either before Sean or after Sean. What do I mean by this? So going after Sean O'Malley would be using his high guard, absorbing the strikes, keeping your eyes on him, downloading what Sean O'Malley is doing. And then since Sean O'Malley keeps that style of him having his hands down and liking to back straight up and things like that, since he has that style, looking to go after. So say Sean O'Malley throws a 1-2 and then tries to back out like he does, using that 1-2 to ride him in. And then as he backs out with his hands down, that's when you could go to the body, come up high, up top, and finish off like that. And before timing, what I mean by that is just don't let Sean O'Malley get started. You go before him. That way you're not having to go at the same time. That way it's harder for him to set you up. And in order to do this, he's going to have to use his kicks to set up his hands to set up his kicks. He's going to have to set up his strikes. That's part of being first. So again, his 3 keys to victory, Marlon Vera's 3 keys to victory are going to be to constantly kick the legs, attack the body of Sean O'Malley, and use before or after timing on his strikes. On the other side, with Sugar Sean O'Malley going into his fights and his style, his fight with Petr Yan, we saw his fight with Chito Vera, we saw the success that he had and also the success he didn't have. However, in this fight, the reason I'm choosing this is because Petr Yan is another one of these guys who uses this high guard, right? So right off the bat, we see Sean attack the lead side leg kick and the teep kicks, right? Constantly fading, still has that hand down style. You see how he's almost waiting for Yan to strike, to close that distance. That way he can go at the same time. Because he's so fast, he's able to do this. Not everyone can get away with it. Not just his speed either, it's also because he's very long. He was able to step in there with a good left hand, very long sniper shot. Man, Sean O'Malley's good, so good from both stances. Makes it so difficult to read him. Hits Yan with a nice low kick, back into a jab. Right now he's same stance as Yan, goes opposite stance, creates a little bit more distance. Yan changes with him, and he lands a 1-2. A lot of people talk about Sean and how he had the easy route. One thing you can't deny is his toughness, man. Those were pokes to the eye, and he went right through them. He landed those 2 sharp 1-2s. 1-2 teep and another 1-2 miss. Another lead leg side kick. You see how Yan isn't trying to go at the same time as him. He knows that if he opens himself up, he can get countered pretty hard. So he's waiting either to go after or he's going before. Those are good low kicks, cutting him off with the low kicks from Yan. And now he looks for a takedown. Fast forwarding a little bit, Sean has really good takedown defense. But I want you to look at that. This is what I'm talking about when I say sometimes. Now it works for him, obviously. He's champion of the world, right? He throws a good combination here, switch stance combination, but look at where his hands are. The down by his hip, the other one pulls back, down by his hip. That's not where you want to be. This is part of the reason why I said Chito Vera should go after or before, right? If he's going before, then he's getting Sean backing up, his back's against the cage, right? And there's, you're able to kind of cut him off with strikes. But if you go after, this is the opening that you see. Even right here, right afterwards, throws his jab right hook, and Yan barely misses a left hook. Barely misses a left hook. Why? Because Sean O'Malley's hands are down. Part of this is from him switching stances so much. Another part is just the hands down again. Good active jab from Sean O'Malley. Sean's striking is so high level that, man, it's really almost even a mistake to just strike with him. But another time you see Yan have success is right here. And what does he do? Throws an oblique leg kick, which actually hurts Sean. You can see that little stumble. And then throws his kick into his hands. And that's how he can cut him off. And then is essentially how he's able to take him down right here. Bang. Good takedown. So that's another example of Yan going before timing. Sean's no stranger on the ground though. He uses good attacks to get space and then is able to get up, land that left hand back to the feints. That was a good low kick from Petr Yan. Look at this. 1-2, hands down. Exits. He is prepared, right? He is prepared to keep on throwing. But again, like I mentioned before, tagging up the body is a very, very important piece of this puzzle. Without getting him thinking different elevations, he's just gonna keep putting on that constant offense, which is why you see Young go back to the body right there. That was a good shot attempt. So let's moving into round 2. Sean checks that low kick, hits him with a right hand off the switch. Nice 1-1-2 right over Jan's long guard. Oh my god. And then just leaps in with this. Look at this. Leaps in with this. Oh my god, that left hand. It's a long, sharp, fast left hand. Waits for you to throw and then continues pouring on the pressure. Hands down. And now look. Boom. Yeah, that was beautiful from Jan. The reason he was able to land this is because Sean just expended a big amount of energy trying to get Jan up out of there. And you can notice that Sean doesn't notice the change in stances from Jan. Why? Maybe because Jan's fingers are in his eye right now. But another reason is because it was very subtle. He thought Jan was hurt, and Jan decided to go first this time instead of after. Jab overhand and lands it hard. That's the hardest Sean O'Malley has ever been hit. He even said it himself. Moving forward, it's you to see how these knees take effect. Now, of course, this is in the midst of the chaos that both. Oh, and it's another eye poke. As much success in this fight, even though a lot of people thought he won. But had he just been kicking the legs right here, side kick, oblique kick, leg kick, the feints don't matter as much because you're landing, and he's not only do the feints not matter, but then he has to address it and go on the defense. Another thing that Jan's about to do here that is really beautiful, good overhand from Sean. That. This is part of that before timing. So he, of course, hits the side kick to the knee, which interrupts everything Sean's about to do. Now Sean has to reset. He resets, and again, Jan goes before, throws that left hook into that body kick. Oh, and that hurts. That hurts. Immediately, Sean's taking deep breaths, and he's, oh man, another body kick. Just trying to hold, he's trying to prolong something, switching stances to confuse him. Now, granted, Sean, man, he recovered beautifully in this round for the third round. And I thought he did end up winning this fight. And so when we look at Sean O'Malley, given his fights with Petr Yan and Chito Vera, going into his keys to victory in order to beat Chito Vera, I think some of the things that he's gonna have to do in order to beat Chito Vera is, one, he's gonna have to use his feints. We know that Chito Vera is very defensive and that he's gonna look to go after most of the time, and if he does some of his research, he is gonna use that before timing as well. So using feints to draw Chito Vera's attacks is almost imperative. Two, I really think that he should stay patient in this fight because Chito Vera, yes, he's a slow starter and Sean's known as a fast starter, but it goes way deeper than that, and I think Sean O'Malley does some of his best work actually when he is patient. We actually saw some of this patience in that Petr Yan fight. He didn't show everything. He almost played that his whole gas tank perfectly for that 3-round fight, and we saw the result that it gave him. We saw him be very patient against Aljamain Sterling, and look where it got him. I think patience is a very important part of being able to pick apart Chito Vera and take away everything Chito Vera does so great, which a lot of times leads him to have more cardio than his opponents. So first key to victory is to use a bunch of feints. Second key to victory is to stay patient. And lastly, the third key to victory for Sugar Sean O'Malley is going to be to add in the low kicks as well. Since Chito Vera keeps that high guard, it's hard to hit his head clean. And because of this, we saw Cory Sandhagen immediately start attacking the low kicks. Even in the first fight, Sean was having a lot of success with the low kicks. It's something that's just there, so why not use it, right? Now, granted, Chito could check a couple kicks and that could change the whole fight, but I think that using that side kick to the knee, using the roundhouses to the outside of the leg or even the calf of Chito Vera will get him to think about a lot more things than just his head, and will stop him from being able to add up on his forward pressure that he likes so much. Another thing we saw in that Cory fight is that when Cory kept going high low, then every time he covered up, he didn't know really what to defend, whether it was the takedown, whether it was the low kick, whether it was the body shot, or it was one of the head strikes. And just as a bonus, I think Sean O'Malley, in what he's gonna surprise a lot of people with this, but I think he is gonna try and grapple a little bit, even if it's just a clinch with Chito Vera. I think that his grappling is a lot better than people expect, and I wouldn't be surprised if he mixed in a couple of takedowns, just purely based off of how tall Chito Vera stands. I think that is something that Cory Sandhagen took advantage of. It's something that Jose Aldo took advantage of. And that if Sean O'Malley decides to, it's something that he could do to take advantage of. Not because he's going to keep him down, but because he's going to keep him guessing while it's on the feet as well. So those are my keys to victory for Sugar Sean O'Malley if he wants to win this fight, if he wants the best chance to win this fight. However, moving into my final thoughts. We're going into UFC 299 in Miami with this bantamweight matchup between two guys who have fought each other before. Now, granted, it didn't take too long, but from what happened, I think both fighters learned a lot. I think Sean O'Malley learned a lot more than Chito Vera from that fight. He learned what he was having success with, but he also learned about composure. I think he had a big lesson in composure. Granted, the fact that his leg was hurt, he was still trying to throw off of it, and there was a couple of things he could have done, a couple of decisions he could have made that would have been better and would have helped him even get into that second round. And then on the other side with Chito Vera, he learned how quick Sean O'Malley was. He learned that maybe he can't just stand there and trade with Sean O'Malley, that he's going to have to use that before and after time. And because of this, I think he got more of a familiarity with Sean O'Malley's style, and his download process is going to be that much shorter. With that being said, I do think that Sean O'Malley is gonna be one of the greats of this sport. I think that his ground game is very underrated, so even if it goes there, I think he'll be all right. I think his speed, his timing, his understanding of range, and his style, his length for the weight class is all pointing towards him winning this fight. However, in order for that to happen, I think the best version of Sean O'Malley needs to come out, even a better version than we saw against Petr. I think he needs to be the most composed, sharpest, and intelligent Sean O'Malley that we've seen yet. If none of those things happen, even if he's super smart and super fast, and he's not composed enough, he could burn himself out. We know Sean O'Malley likes to throw big shots. Big shots cost energy, and if your energy threshold gets lower than Chito Vera's, that's when you start going backwards. That's when he starts to add up on his strikes, and that's when he tends to have the most success. But with that being said, I'm choosing Sean O'Malley in this fight in order to win against Chito Vera at UFC 299. Let me know who you got in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe to join the family. And guys, with that being said, thank you for tuning into this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.